Hi guys, it's Zach with Procrastination Station. Today I'm going to do a teardown guide, complete teardown guide for the Arcturus PP19. This was requested by a viewer, so I'm just going to do a no BS, just straight down to the Gearbox teardown video. So with that being said, I'm just going to dive right on in here. As you can see, I have our PP19. We are on safe. Make sure that our rifle is cleared. The first thing that you're going to do, unfortunately, this rifle is a few years old, so things are loose, things are missing, etc. But you'll get the gist. We'll kind of go down and we'll go through it. So the first thing you'll need to remove, right off the bat, you'll see a spray paint mark here. There's 4 flat head screws that you'll need to remove. Here, 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 and here. Once that is done, there will be a rail piece that you'll just slide up, off. You can set that aside. And then from there, what we're gonna do, just right off the rip, is take our receivers apart. So I'm gonna lift up my dust cover. Right here is your dust cover retention. You're gonna pull in and up and out. Here we go. With this piece, you're gonna have a spring. And a washer. That washer goes on the end so your spring doesn't hit the end here. We'll just set that aside. Put your selector down into the full auto or semi position and pull your bolt up, back, and up, and that'll come out as well. Now, the next bit that we can remove is our receiver pin. It's here. The larger portion is going to be on your left-hand side. With that being said, it is retained by your dust cover retention. It might be a little bit stiff. Mine is not, so I can just pull it straight up and out. You'll notice now that our receiver cannot be removed. That's okay. To protect our wires, I'm going to place this down and we're going to flip our replica over. There will be 2 Phillips screws in our Hopup retainer clip. In this instance, I'm going to use a PH00 Phillip. I recommend that you get just a multi-tool kit that comes with plenty of bits. This came from Harbor Freight here in the US. And we're going to remove these 2 Phillips screws. Keep these in a place that you're not going to lose them. They are pretty small. And lifting up and out is our clip here. It just holds our Hopup in place so that our barrel and Hopup can't move forward. Set that aside, that's very important. Now I'm going to flip the replica over, have our dust cover up. Again, with a Phillips, we're going to remove our 2 Hopup Phillips screws. Might be a little bit more difficult with the dust cover in place. You can remove your dust cover. It's fairly simple, but for the sake of a teardown video, I don't recommend actually doing that because everything is accessible without taking your dust cover off. So here is our Phillips and our second Phillips. Now, there's only one more screw for our receiver set. You don't actually need to remove any of the forward rail sections, contrary to popular belief. There is a small hole under your front sight post. We are going to take a Allen, I believe, give me one moment. It is a 2mm Allen. Setting it down in, there is a small grub screw that holds our barrel in place, our outer barrel in place. Remove it. You don't have to remove it all the way, just enough, and you'll kind of feel, I believe there's maybe 1 or 2 threads. And with that, we can pull the entire front receiver set off, and we can pull our Hopup and outer barrel spring off, set that aside. And you shouldn't need to do anything with this. You can set this aside as well. Now, you don't actually need to remove your gearbox in this instance. You can just fold up at a 45 and find the right spot and pull out our Hopup. Here we have our Hopup assembly, and you can upgrade basically anything that you wish with this. The Hopup is fantastic. It's basically a TDC. We have our adjustments, and it takes a standard inner barrel for an AEG, Tokyo Marine spec as well. I don't know the dimensions of this, but I believe they'll be listed on evic.com. Now you'll have your inner barrel retainer clip, and what we can do is just remove that, set that aside. We also have, on the older model, I don't know if this is updated, I believe I've been told it has been, there is a C-clip on the outside. We're going to carefully remove this, placing my finger over it. We're going to remove that, and you can just lift off your adjustment wheel, and we can lift off our Hopup arm, which is a TDC style like I had stated, and it takes any standard Tokyo Marine spec nub. With that being said, we can now wiggle, and here is access to our nub inner barrel and inner barrel washer. Now to put this back together, just a little bit of lube. I recommend Tech T. This has been done fairly recently, and I'm not going to add any more grease. That being said, you'll see a line in the middle of your inner barrel that will align with the bottom of your Hopup. You should have a cast mark on most Hopups in the middle, and what I like to do is line that up, and that gives me dead center. Take your inner barrel retaining clip, and it only goes in one way. Clip that on. And then our spacer will just slide in. Now for our Hopup arm, this is where it gets a little tricky. In this instance, I am using a 4 UAD or quad bucking and nub combo, so I don't need to trim or anything like that. I'm going to place a little bit of Tech T on the arm. Set my arm on, and that will hold with the friction of the grease. Center my nub on the arm the best that we can. The arm has basically like a bridge section that will stick towards the front. We will just slide in our Hopup arm. On the bottom of our adjustment wheel, there is an O-ring. Just lightly grease it. And you're not really going to be able to know where this sits. So just rotate until majority of the top section is exposed. And we will place our C-clip back in. It doesn't matter up or down which way. You'll hear it click. And then we will check perfect that we have some hop. You're done with this. You can just set your spring on here and set this aside. That's all you need to upgrade or do with the Hopup. Now, we have our lower receiver set. There's not much to get our gearbox out from this point. You'll also notice that I do not have the PP19 magwell. That's okay. You can actually remove the magwell and run standard AK mags in these lowers as well. Some people have issues with the PP19 mag and just want to run the AK mag. It basically turns your PP19 into an AK. From here, what I'm going to do is remove our stock latch. So what I like to do, on your left hand side again, you'll notice a button. The button is what folds our stock. There's a small hole on the forward facing side. We're going to take a 0.05 millimeter Allen key, stick it in that. You should feel that screw, and we can remove that grub screw. It is spring loaded, so make sure to hold on to that button. We will slide it off. You don't need to remove that screw completely. And there is a tiny screw or a tiny spring on the button as well. Make sure to not lose that. We'll set that aside. There's also a spring on this side on the post. Make sure to not lose that and set that aside. And then we'll just pull our body up, and our catch with the arm is attached. I will state that there is a screw for the post. The post is threaded into this, and it can loosen over time, so I recommend just make sure that that is tight. This is also extremely fragile on this post section, so make sure when you're tightening, when we're putting it back together, I'll go into that, that we don't break off the post. Arcturus does sell these on their website, but of course you don't want to spend $50 on something that we could have prevented. Now that that's done, I'm going to flip over our body. There is a small cover on our selector switch. You'll just basically take a small flathead, knife, something safe, and pry upwards. I've lost mine. It's an easily losable item. And then we will take, let's see, a 3mm Allen key and remove this screw, pulling upward, setting that aside, and we can just gently wiggle back and forth our selector to pull that out. There is also going to be a brass spacer that will be stuck inside. Do not lose that, it can fall out. That is for your screw to sit against and to rotate. It makes it so that it won't loosen over time, even though we all know that it does. Now, last but not least, to get to our gearbox, we are going to take a 2.5mm Allen key, and on the front screw on our pistol grip, we're going to remove that. Set that screw aside, and we can pull off our plate. Now there's one more 2.5mm screw that holds our grip to our motor cage. We can remove that. These screws are different, so be mindful. The one that goes into the motor is flat. The one that goes on the forward is raised. Now we can simply wiggle and pull our grip off. Now our gearbox is free. We can simply lift from our body, and our body is completely empty. Now we are here to our gearbox. On the right hand side, you saw that this came off. This is our selector, and it'll sit on this side, and that'll be it. We can take that off. And from here on, you can dig into a standard version 3 gearbox. The Arcturus gearbox houses a quick change spring system that is accessible without taking your gearbox out. If you simply push the button, fold your stock, you can remove your spring guide, spring, and swap out springs without taking any of the replica part. Now that we're here, I'll explain some things that could be upgraded in this by simply tearing into this as well. With a Phillips screw driver, not that one, we will remove our selector. Lifting up, we can set that aside, and then we can pull up, and our selector will simply fall out. From here, take a flathead and carefully remove your spring guide retention screw. Set that aside, and safely we're going to remove our spring. I'd recommend to use a larger flathead. Push in, rotate, here we go. Our spring guide and spring we can set aside. Next, I recommend to remove the plate that holds your wires in place. What we can do one of two ways. You can bend these tabs if you're scared about pinching your wires, or we can simply take a flathead, push downwards, That'll give us enough room that it is unclipped from this hole. And then in the hole, we can simply push down and pull out. That'll free our wires up. Now I recommend you remove your wiring from your motor, and your wires will simply be out of the way. Flip your gearbox over to the screw side, and we are going to remove our motor and motor cage. It's 2 Phillips. These are going to be different than any other screws in your gearbox. They will have a long flat section and then a small amount of threads. Set those aside. And we can simply pull down on our motor and release our motor. You can also do this while it's inside your body, and you can replace your motor that way. I recommend to reshim your gearbox to your motor if you ever replace it. In this instance, we have a T238 motor. It's a brushless motor. These are decent. I believe this is the 29K or 30K motor, and that works fine for me. Now we're here. You'll notice this black trigger piece. We'll simply take something that we can gently pry back and wiggle along the bottom. I generally recommend a flat head. We'll see if the big one does the trick. This is also one of those breakable pieces, so be mindful and set that aside. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 screws left. These screws do have a washer. Be mindful. The frontmost screw is going to be your smallest screw. Small, big, big. These two are the same. I believe the back one is the same as well. Yep. So there's only one small screw and that goes in the front, and then these 3 are the same. Now we can remove the top plate of our gearbox. In my instance, I don't have a whole lot of springs going on because I replaced my trigger system with a Perrin clicker, which I highly recommend. So what I'm going to do our 3 gears and our anti-reversal latch might come off with some shims. So in this instance, what I'm going to do is just gently hold down our 3 gears and anti-reversal latch and pop off our top. There's some shims on our gearbox shell, and that's okay. Just remember which ones they correlate to. Going to remove our trigger. I'm going to remove my clicker. I'm going to gently remove my Tappet return spring. Pull up on our compression assembly. Set that aside. Remove my sector gear and return my shims. Remove my bevel, and all my shims are present. Last but not least, I'll remove my spur gear and return my shims. Now I can see that my anti-reversal latch spring had come off. Just make sure that you keep these two together. Arcturus places a washer where our Tappet return spring is. Just make sure that that's present, it's white. And then we're down to our parent Mosfet, which also can be removed with a small Phillips screwdriver and our tiny spring, or screw. And I can remove my Mosfet system. That leaves our bare gearbox with our $8mm bushings. These are FLT bushings that I have replaced. And that's it. That's a complete teardown guide for the Arcturus PP19. These are the stock gears. Highly recommend. I believe they're SHS from Arcturus. Our anti-reversal latch, our trigger, everything is pretty much great from Arcturus factory. However, on an upgrade guide, what I can recommend is these gears are standard AEG version 2, version 3 gears that can be upgraded. Our 8mm bushings or bearings, our stock, or our Tokyo Marui SPEC. Anti-reversal latch is a version 2, version 3. Our Mosfet system is any version 3 that will work. I recommend the Perrin version 3 Mosfet with a version 3 clicker that slides right on in there with our Mosfet system. Moving to motors, we have short type version 3 motors or short type motors. For compression, our nozzle length is 19.81 or 19.8 millimeters. We have a standard version 3 tappet plate with no restrictions on the front. We have a standard version 2 or version 3 piston with Piston Head. This one is from the Real Deal Airsoft. We have standard cylinders, version 2 or version 3 spec, and then any version 2 cylinder head will work. It does not have the cutoff like a version 3 normally does, so I can recommend just getting a version 2. This one is SHS or the Real Deal Airsoft. Springs, any version 2, version 3. This is an M120. Spring guide is proprietary due to the quick change system and the click. Other than that, can't think of anything upgrade wise. These gearboxes come pre-radiused and I believe these are cast. I can't confirm that. I believe, but these are high quality gearbox shells that don't really need anything. Other than that, that's been a complete teardown guide and parts list that you can upgrade on this airsoft replica. Again, going to our Hopup system, it's any AEG version 2 bucking nub combo, and then our length on our barrel is, I believe, listed on evic.com. I don't have that off the top of my head, but it is also just a standard Tokamuri spec inner barrel. That being said, I appreciate you guys for watching. I will also post a reassembly video with this. So these two will come out not as a separate, they'll come out as a separate video, but they will be released together. So this is the teardown guide. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. Let me know how I did, and I'll see you guys on the next one.